So the main question I want to address during this webinar is, why should any candidate consider seriously coming to HEC to do a PhD in business? So in my viewpoint, there are 6 main reasons to do that, and I will go over each of them. So the first one is about the rigorous academic training that you will receive. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So all students that are attending our program can be assured that they will receive the most rigorous training, academic training, and supervision during their stay with us. As you may already know, HEC Montreal is a very dynamic and productive research hub. As you can see on this slide, HEC figures in the world's top 100 business schools according to quality of its research publication. It is in the top 70 in North America. This is quite something. At the school, currently we have over 50 research chairs, centers, and research groups. And on average, every week at HEC, there are about 5 research activities going on. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide, we spend on average $30 million a year in order to support research activities. And a large proportion of that budget is for scholarships for grad students. Next slide. So the excellence of the work produced at HEC is recognized internationally. As a clear and objective sign of that, we have obtained what we call here the triple accreditation. So HEC Montreal is one of the very, very few business schools throughout the world to obtain the 3 most prestigious accreditations: AMBA, AACSB, and ICWIS. We're very, very proud of that. Next slide. So you must also know, if you have visited our website, that HEC Montreal is one of the very, very few doctoral programs in the world to offer such a large and diverse set of disciplines. So going from accounting studies to finance to data science, org behavior, information technology, just to name a few. So we cover a very, very broad range of disciplines, and we're very happy to that. In fact, you must know that HEC Montreal is one of the largest business schools in the world, with 275 faculty members, full-time faculty members. Next slide, please. The second reason why you should consider seriously coming to HEC to do your PhD is related to financing. So every admitted student at HEC, without exception, gets funding. It's funding for a 4-year period minimally, so you can have funding for the 5th year. But we guarantee you a funding for 4 years, which includes between $20,000 and $25,000 a year in the form of internal scholarship. In addition to that, you have a tuition fee waiver, and we give you $5,000 for participation in scientific activities, be it conferences, workshops, and so on. Beyond and above that funding package, you can also apply for external funding, scholarships. And you must know that at HEC, we have one person, one staff, who is dedicated to help graduate students obtain external funding. And that person, Marie-France, does an exceptional work. Next slide. The third reason is the student experience. So at HEC, we do everything we can to make your stay with us the most stimulating and exciting possible. Next slide. Yes. So we take many steps to achieve that objective. And one of them is the presence of an academic advisor in each of the 12 disciplines. One of the roles of that person who is a faculty is to guide you during the first few years of your program, helping you decide which courses you should attend, whose faculty members should be on your different committees, and so on. We also have integration workshops. Those are very important, especially for international students who have never lived in Montreal. So we have one workshop that will tell you everything you need to know before you come to Canada and to Montreal. There's another workshop that we give that tell you everything you need to know before starting your studies at HEC Montreal. So those workshops are conducted in collaboration with student services. Then we have about 30 academic workshops a year that we offer that cover a very broad range of topics. Two of the most popular ones are academic scientific writing in English. So that workshop helps students to develop their writing skills. And we have another one, a more recent one, about how to develop your skills, your oral skills, when you go to conferences and you have to present your work. So, and there are many other workshops that we offer to our PhD students at HEC. One other aspect that is very important is that we want to prepare you the best possible in terms of teaching. So many of our graduate students will enter the academic, enter academia, and a big part of their job will be to teach courses. So we want to make sure that by the time that you graduate from our program, that you have developed those skills. So during the third year, you will be paired with a faculty in your department, and you will do some shadowing. So you will go to class with that faculty, you will attend all the sessions during the semester, and you will also take a teaching preparation workshop. And by the end of the third year, you will be ready to start teaching in your fourth year, that very same course that you attended with the faculty. For those of you who don't speak French, because you must know that HEC Montreal is a French-speaking school, although most of our courses at the doctoral level are in English. For those of you who are not Francophone, we have what we call the French language course series. So, and there is 6 levels of courses that we offer, and those are free of charge for PhD students. So that's a fantastic way for you to learn the language. Of course, the Student Association is very active and organizes different social activities that are very appreciated by all PhD students. And I also need to highlight the work, the fantastic work of the Student Services Department, who offers exceptional services in terms of psychological support, help for students with disabilities, and so on. So we have a great collaboration with the Student Association as well as with the Student Services. Next slide, please. The fourth reason is related to the fact that HEC Montreal is part of what we call the joint program. Next slide. So you may already know that McGill, Concordia, and UQAM, as well as HEC Montreal, are part of this joint doctoral program, which means that as a student at HEC, you can take courses at any of the 3 other business schools. So this is fantastic because you have access to so many faculty in your own discipline. And in terms of supervision, because this is a joint program, we require each student to have on their his or her committee one faculty member from one of the other 3 business schools. So you will always have someone from either McGill, Concordia, or UQAM on your committees. And of course, you have access to all the resources in those schools as well. For instance, the library. So this is very, very unique. And many universities are jealous of our program because of that, of its joint nature. Next slide, please. The 5th reason is our exceptional placement rate. So you must know that we have about 450 graduates as of today, and all of them, without exception, have a job, either as a faculty member in a university, as a researcher in a research unit, research center, or in the industry. So about 80% of our graduates have decided to pursue an academic career, and 20% have decided to go to the industry. Next slide. These are only a few of the schools where some of our very recent graduates have started working as assistant professors. So you see in this list schools in Quebec, elsewhere in Canada, in the States, and in Europe. Next slide. The last reason why you should consider HEC Montreal as a home for your doctoral studies in business is the stimulating life environment. You may already know that we have 2 facilities so far that we call the Côte Sainte-Catherine building and the Bessel building. Those are exceptional facilities equipped with cutting-edge technologies, not only in the classrooms, but also in the computer labs and in the library, for instance. And there is a 3rd facility currently under construction that will be located downtown in Montreal that should open in the fall 2022. So here are a few pictures of the main building at the Côte Sainte-Catherine facility. So you see in a classroom, the cafeteria, and you also see the library. I must say about the library that this is one of the largest bilingual library in the business field in North America. So virtually you can have access to any type of document related to business fields. We have access to all the main databases. So this is quite exceptional. Next slide, please. I must also say a few words about Montreal itself, since you're going to be spending a few years with us. As you know, Montreal is known to be a city oriented towards university life. In fact, in the next slide, there is a clear evidence that, yes, if you can move to the next slide, please. A very recent survey shows that Montreal figures among the 10 best universities in the world in 2019. The criteria that were used during that survey referred to the student experience, the ranking of the universities, the desirability of living in the city, the activity of employers, and the cost of living, which is quite good for a city of that size.